Hey McKinney, this is Dr. Matt Davis here, and this is our Whiteboard Wednesday. And this is the question I wanted to ask you today as we're diving deep into how the nervous system works, as we're talking about function this month. And this is something that gets missed a lot of times, especially for us families. I asked this question, are you functioning in chaos? And you may not feel like you are, okay? But you know this as a parent. When your kid is struggling with sleep, either getting to sleep or staying asleep, what does that do for you? It creates chaos because every night, you know, the routine takes way too long to get them down, or they're waking up every hour, or they're not staying asleep, or they're waking up at a really crazy time of the night, come knocking on your door, and they're up and ready to go for the day. That's not normal, okay? It's common, but it's not normal. And that tells us that you're functioning in chaos, that your kid is telling you something. They're raising their hand without saying a word by waking up that they're not able to shut down. They're not powering down. Why do I know this? This happens a lot during the summer because all of a sudden we go from schedule and being on track and having to go and run and having a lot of activity to having a lot of less activity. Now, I know some of you have camps and things for this and that going all over the place, which is, I get it. I mean, you don't want your kids being bored at home. But what happens is when we start moving in this place of not functioning, okay, or your kid has been struggling for a while, or you've been struggling for a while, and you're not putting it together. That's one of the biggest things that hits us here at Reformed Family Chiropractic is that we're here to get to the cause. What is that root cause that you're really struggling with, okay? So as a pediatric and family chiropractor, what we're always looking for is that cause and effect. You see the effects, your kid's not sleeping, meltdowns, or they're not able to function or focus, or this during the summer, they're just getting whiny. Or here's another big one. I know we deal with this all the time. I'm bored, okay? Reminder, as a parent, it's okay if they're bored. I know it's annoying, okay? But it's so important for us to let their brains rest and recover. We've talked about that this month, is resting and recovering. How our brain works, it needs to shut down, needs to power off. Now, for some of you, you know this. This is the world you've lived in for years, that your kids are not powering down. And where does that show up most for us is when we talk about sleep. So that's why I wanted to lean into this during the summer. It's just a couple things that we can do in that. As when we look at that, I wanted to define that chaos. And here's where we're talking about. We're talking about that cause and effect. Okay? You're like, what does that mean? Okay, well, effects are all those symptoms we start showing up, like ADHD, ADD, meltdowns, balance coordination issues, speech challenges. We start seeing difficulty sleeping is a big one. For those little ones, the colic, okay, and excessive crying. So when we start seeing these things, I automatically go to, and let's look at where is that impacting the central nervous system. That's the cause. So what controls your whole body? The autonomic nervous system. That's the brain and the body working together, but that's where the brake pedal is. And if the brake pedal isn't on at night or going fully into recovery mode, your kid's not shutting down. Now, when we talk about neuromotor development, we can look at all those milestones your kid needs to go through, but we also could talk about how the brain and the body have to communicate. And when they're struggling to communicate because of stress or changes, vacation. We just came back from vacation. We got away. Thank you so much. It was much needed. It was great to get away and get some rest. But guess what? We come back and our life's a little bit chaotic because we've been on the road, traveling, driving all over the place, seeing national parks and surfing and water skiing and doing all this fun stuff, sleeping in a different bed, felt like every night. Our bodies were all over the place. So we get home and all of a sudden we're back at our place of ease and rest, but our minds and our bodies are still in this chaos. Okay, and it's not a bad thing, it just takes a while to reset. So what we want to walk you through in this is that if your kid is struggling with this, we have the highest technology it's called the Insight Scan. And the Insight Scan does an amazing job of tracking and monitoring and showing what's going on with the central nervous system. And I love this technology because we don't have to guess. We get to tie those sleep issues that you're having with your kiddo, or that anxiety they're dealing with, or the frustration you're dealing with during the school years rolling into the summer. We can show you what's going on with that. So we can map that chaos out. You can see what that looks like, and then we can help you put together a plan to get you back to that rest, because we know this. I had a former, someone who had reached out to us, we had a relationship with, and she found out she hadn't been sleeping. And it was interesting in her statement, she said this, like, it's amazing what sleep can do. So if your kid's not sleeping, if you're not sleeping, and you want to find out what is that root cause of that, let's get together. Let's talk. Come and get scanned, find out what it's all about. But I really wanted to lean into this and say, are you functioning in chaos, and how to know that, okay? So those clues, last three things here. Sleep is the big thing. If you're functioning in chaos, it's not working for you, okay? That inability to focus, or to get things done. You're all over the place, whether that's for you or your kids. And last but not least, it's just a lack of interest in things. I know that sounds kind of weird, but when you're chaotic, you're all over the place, you really don't want to do anything. So those are just some keys to look at as a parent for if your kid is struggling with those things. And especially as we're in this place where there's not a lot of school or learning taking place. What are they looking for all the time? Stimulation. So they're always wanting to watch a show. They're always wanting to play a video game. They're always wanting to do something. And I know it's tough in Texas because it is so blistering hot right now, but we want to make sure that we're looking for those keys that tell us my kid is tapped out. They are living in chaos from the inside out. So Dr. Matt here, Reformed Family Chiropractic. We can help you calm that chaos. Anyway, reach out to us. We want to talk it through, set up a phone consult with us, and we'd love to find out what's going on for you and your kiddo.